What challenges do you see recruiters facing when hiring product designers in today's market? And how can candidates like me, who have 6 to 7 years of UX experience, stand out to meet those challenges?
I would say some of the challenges I had found, especially when you're looking through sheer volume, like if we're talking about the market we're in now, Joanne, to your point, where it's kind of like a quote unquote company's market at the moment. Mm-hmm. Anything you can do to your portfolio that makes your visual language and your design thinking stand out. You end up, and I'm sure you all see this too, you see the very similar templated portfolios over and over again. And as a recruiter, you start like wondering, like, do you really understand design thinking, or are you just putting what you think you're supposed to put into a UX portfolio? Mm-hmm. For me, that's when I get excited, is when I see a designer's like, you know,
flavor.
Thank you. That's the word I'm looking for. Their flair, like in a portfolio. And I think that's a good way for it to stand out.
That's a great starting point. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just kind of pops a little bit more. Yeah, I think, and these are things that every designer has control over, I think. To an extent, you don't always have control over the companies you've worked for. Sometimes what their brand looks like, you got to play within their systems. But for your portfolio and your site and your work, like that's you and your personality, your expression, your flair. You get to pick all of that. So that's an interesting point about the templates too.
And to that point,
deviating a little.
Yeah.
And to that point, it's kind of like, like they say, dress for the job you want, like make the portfolio for the job you want, because
great point.
A lot of times when you're looking at so many designers, companies want someone that has worked on a work stream that's similar, like, have you done Shopify e-commerce sites before? Like, I'm not saying like people want to do that necessarily. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. But like, if I'm looking at portfolio and it doesn't really have any of that in there, and I see another portfolio that has more e-com, then I'm gonna gravitate towards that. So even if like you've worked for big brands on work streams you're not really proud of, like make sure you have what you want to work on in your book and that you're applying to roles like as such.
And would you include like even things that might be on spec? Like maybe if they like designing for the role that you want, maybe they don't have that Shopify e-commerce experience, but that's what they want.
Yeah.
Would you recommend them like doing a personal project, labeling it as such?
That's the words out of my mouth.
Yeah. Okay. Right. That's very key. Very key. But just showing like, hey, I'm interested in this. I'm putting the time into making this. Obviously, it didn't launch. I don't have any metrics to share about it, but like I'm just showing you visually, like this is what I want.
Yeah.
About something like that.
Annotations that have your design thinking are also good. Like static photos of design process can sometimes be hard to evaluate as a recruiter.
Yeah.
And like I've seen a lot recently of people just putting their portfolios into Figma files, and I've seen hiring managers gravitating more towards that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But would you say that doing stuff on spec would be useful? Like, would that be something that would be
it depends on level, but I think like for that question, like 5-6 years, I'd say because you have enough work that you can show. I've worked in an environment here, but like this is really what I want to be doing, and this is how I would approach it.
Yeah.
He's been flexing a bit. Yeah, I would buy into that too. If there was a designer that had only worked on web-based B2B stuff, but wanted to show me some mobile consumer things, even if it was a bit more spec or playful, something that they were doing. At least you're giving a signal. If you didn't have any of that, I've got no signal at all to go on. I'm only seeing web B2B. I got no mobile at all. And this role is very mobile heavy. So it's like, I got nothing to go off. So something is maybe better than nothing.
Yeah, I like to see it. Yeah, I like to see it too, just for the fact that I'm like, okay, they're in it to win it. Like they're actually going the extra mile. They really care about it. They're putting the work into doing something that they're, like Babe Ruth, like they're calling their shot. Like I want to go here. So they're putting their money where their mouth is. Like they're putting that in their book and taking the time to put that in there, which again, to your point, Jared, yes. Like if I don't see anything in there that gives me that signal, then there's just nothing there. But to me, it's like, oh, they're passionate and motivated, and you can't teach that, right?
Yeah.
Like you can teach someone on the job how to make mobile apps, but like to actually teach somebody to have that interest, or even to have that like kind of just general design sensibility, that's somewhat teachable. But I think a lot of that is instinctual. That's kind of a different conversation, perhaps.
Yeah.
I pulled my toe into interesting shark-infested waters there.
Yeah.
But
Careful.
yeah, but I think the energy it takes to make something like that is a good signal.
Yeah. I mean, even like one time, like success story wise.
Cool. I love these.
When I was living in London, and we were recruiting for our Istanbul team, our hiring manager in London was looking for folks that like knew Turkish banking, wanted that design flair. The Turkish market at the time wasn't really using Sketch. I think it was at that point.
Yeah, probably.
Really using Sketch, and we worked in Sketch all the time. And I found a portfolio of Chara, who now, like, just to see the way his career has blossomed, like, we hired him because he was a Sketch ambassador at the time in Turkey. So like he wasn't using it in his day-to-day, but he was like active in the community and had a passion for it. And like that was what brought him to London with our team.
Got him the job.
Cool. I love that.
That's awesome. That's a prime example of just showing that you're into it.